Welcome back to the lab, folks. We are ready for another lantern project. And here we have a Chalwyn Tempest. This will be the second Chalwyn I've done here on the channel. First one I was not a big fan of. I think it was a much more modern version, I would think, judging by the level of construction on it. It was very flimsy. But I have heard things from others that they enjoy the build quality of Chalwyn lanterns made in the UK. And very cool, kind of I would assume that's a visual globe segmented, and there's another name for it, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. And apparently it's native to the Tempest. But it just doesn't look like it fits, does it? Something weird about it. That bottom lip is just very pronounced. But if it's supposed to be in there, it's supposed to be in there. It fits the top fine. It just looks uncharacteristic, that's all. I mean, that could have to do with airflow. It could be because they want to give this very large flame a large berth in here, and it's very thick glass as well. And we'll take this apart and look at it. I haven't, other than taking the globe out to kind of look at it, I haven't opened this thing up or gotten at it or anything. So, we have supervisor here. This is Jack. Jack's going to be supervising, well, for another week or two here. And, okay, so let's get this apart. And we're going to wash and assess and most likely take the paint off, because this baby is pretty far gone, this blue paint, even though it is original paint. All right, let's look her over. Okay, as I said before, I have taken the globe out. Take that out, show you. So not only is it an interesting, unique shape, it's got these big, huge lock knobs on there. They're gigantic. That thing ain't falling out. And it's thick, nice rounded edges. Pretty neat. And we'll clean that up, obviously. So, all right, first I want to check, see if this bail is going to come out with any reasonable ease, and it does. That makes me very happy. Me and bales don't get along well. Plus, oh, good, it will. It was good that it came off, so we can bend it into correct shape. And we'll get that before we put it back on, because I could very well bend it again while steel wooling it or something. Okay. So, great, that's off. Now, with the Chalwyn that I did, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, had this mechanism here, and I see it's a little loose. I had said, oh, well, look at that. This is all fresh and kind of, it's not all rusted. So I popped these little tabs, pulled this off to get this mechanism out, and they snapped right off. Super cheap metal the second I went to put it back on. The second I went to bend them back, snapped off. So I had to just kind of mar the whole thing and put solder all over it. And it was a bummer. So, see if I can figure out what to do about that, if anything. I could just work around it all. We'll see. Oh, see, look at, see there, you see, it's got, oh, yeah, that's something, made a nest in there. But you can see there's, yep, Chalwyn Tempest. On here, you can't even see it. Well, yeah, you can a little bit. All right, let's see. Part spin. Filler cap comes right off. Excellent. That came right out. Lots of bug carcasses. So who knows what's going to be in these air tubes and everything. We don't need any carcasses on things when cleaning parts, do we? No. That's kind of interesting. That's new. That's new to me. Interesting. So, let me check out this globe plate. Looks like that should come off right there. I don't think it's soldered. So we'll give that a try. Get that off, because there's a good amount of rust on this thing. I'm gonna need to do disassembly here. So let's get that out. What do you say? Finding a good angle to get at things is always fun, but that's why this long shaft little screwdriver is my screwdriver of choice for getting at these things. There's a lot of little obstacles to get around. Boy, it's almost like overkill on this incredibly strong hinge for a flimsy little globe plate. Really something. Do not see what it's holding at. Okay. Boy. Incredibly heavy duty for the job it has to do. That's like the most heavy duty globe plate hinge I've ever come across. Wow. Well, okay then. Pesky. Wow. I almost don't want to deal with that when I put it back in. Boy, oh boy. Okay, so by the way, by this mechanism, I could tell that this was built in the same era as the other one I worked on, so. Let's take a look in the fount. It's all right. It's shiny. Not bad at all. Lots of insect travelage down in there. Let's get this crown off. Wow, this is coming off so much simpler than that globe plate. And hopefully these tabs, which feel very flimsy and cheap, I hope to God they don't snap on me putting this back on. We'll see. But boy, oh boy, this is Feels like I could have a roll of gum in it. It's so thin. Nope. Sorry, people who love Chalwyn stuff. So far, early impressions of Chalwyn number 2 are quite flimsy. So when I saw this for sale at a at the last flea market of the season here in town, not in my town, but here in my area, this past weekend, the reason I got this is because I haven't had one. I haven't done one, and I want to do one. I like having new things to check out, new things to learn from. And that's where the lantern wisdom comes from, right? And you know, nothing helps you relate to lanterns other than, you know, taking them apart and cleaning them and putting them back together. Just like bringing waitresses into the kitchen for a night to work a shift and have a waitress come clean a kitchen with you at the end of a Friday night. They will learn an appreciation. They certainly will. Okay, so interesting thing. After I got the all the rust off the crown, it still had paint. It had paint hiding underneath that entire massive layer of oxidation. There was still some green paint lingering, so I took it into the kitchen and give it a shot of oven cleaner. So this came out great. I can fix these. Let's see, will I be able to fit that? Yes. Lengthen this a little bit. All right, so since we are waiting on what's going on in the sink, might as well just go straight to getting these babies finished up with a little steel wool. And that way we don't have to think about them anymore until reassembly time. I have gloves on. Why, you ask? Well, because they're just doing one little quick second application of oven cleaner. It did really well. Just a couple pesky spots. So I hit them again. I'm going to give them a few minutes. And gloves aren't free, except for the ones that maybe I get while waiting in a doctor's waiting room. So we got these parts back. That took the paint off there. I figured, well, we'll clean these up in the interim. Ooh, did you see that? Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. Oh, okay then. Well, that certainly happened with great efficiency. And this is no longer a viable glove. And that's not going to hurt anything if that stays right there. There it goes. Man, this thing is going to be such a pain in the butt to put back on because it's so tough. Yeah, this is without a doubt the thickest gauge metal globe plate hinge assembly part that I have ever seen. Man, it's gonna be a pain in the butt line them up. Well, here we are. And I gotta say, that's ugly. Man. It's just ugly what is ended up here. I mean, I don't mind the look of the Tempest. It's just everything else. Much like me and the Ford Explorer. I owned one once. I love the way, well, I'm sorry, I don't love. I like the way the Ford Explorer looks. But I do not like the way it's constructed. Luckily, I don't have to pay anybody to repair this. That's what I'm here to do. Okay. So, yeah, boy, you know, I mean, the thing is that this looked like it was a really nice tin, and they painted over it. So, back over to the big wheel, and then back over here to resume our restoration here. Okay, well, that is quite the improvement. Not out of the woods yet, though. Ugly Tempest. So, yeah, once we got it smoothed out, then things are looking different. But you can hear where I got it with the wheel and didn't. So, that is up to me and the Dremel to get the rest of them spots. All right, let's start it off with the crown. Beautiful. I already did the other parts earlier. We're not needing much of this at all because we pretty much went over this like 3 times with 3 different mediums. But I like to keep it consistent. Alright, where is? Already did that, already did that. That. Filler cap we didn't do. We cleaned it, but we didn't steel wool it. Like I said, for some strange, weird, from a distance, I see the Nintendo logo. I'll put it here on the screen, because while I'm editing this, I'm going to be like, what is your brain thinking? So I would have to Google a Nintendo logo, and I'll put it right here. If I'm wrong, then I won't put it there. Yeah. Okay. Let me get all this steel wool dust out of here, because we don't want that around when we treat. We do not. We're going to brush everything off here, and I want to get the steel wool off of here. And get the big chunks with my magnet. Works pretty good. There's a whole other, yeah, there's a whole other steel wool pillow right there. Okay. And I'm doing this to get all the steel wool dust off. Because steel wool, well, you can almost watch it rust. Because there's just so much surface area in steel wool, and it rusts very quick. And if there's a bunch of it left on your lantern when you treat it with something, you're going to seal it right inside your oil. And it'll be the first thing to start to rust. And it'll make your lantern look rusty. Okay. Oh, I did not steal wool that, darn it. Okay. Keep this other stuff away for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to put the crown on first before treating. And I'm going to put the glow plate on after treating, just because I could properly wipe it all off of here and underneath and things like that before I do the painstaking job of putting this baby back on with this crazy hinge going on here. Okay, so put the crown on. Wow, that's amazing. I love how easy that came off and went on without incident. Right. Linseed oil with a little kerosene. Let's begin. Globe plates and globe guards are very susceptible to flash rust. They see a lot of high temperatures, and I have also machined them down to bare finish, which makes them more vulnerable to rust. If you're new here, or if you're new to lanterns and all that stuff, and you're curious about fixing up the one you got, you don't have to use linseed oil. You can use WD-40, which I have. When I started out doing this, I was using WD-40. Not much wrong with it, but I had noticed quick flash rust from it in my household, which was very humid this summer. And I also saw linseed oil recommended by reputable people. So I went with it, and I'm sticking with it. Why not? And it's been working. Works great. Looks great, too. There is an aesthetic value points involved in using it. This isn't looking half bad because, like I said, I kind of hold off my judgment until I see oil on a restoration to make my judgment as to what it looks like, what I think, and how it looks. Because the oil will immediately darken the exposed steel, and you know the tin will stay tin looking, and I am generously putting this on, and I'm going to wipe off excess with a clean towel. As if I left it on, this amount, it would get all gummy and weird. Not good. Not good at all. Gummy and sticky and strange. This is not necessarily the cleanest rag I have here. I mean, it was dirty out of the washing machine because it's a shop towel for me in my shop doing shop things. But it does have a good amount of removed linseed oil on it, so it's got a little stiffness to it too. But it still has the towel integrity in it in order to fulfill its duty here. Okay, so a Chalwyn, what size wick? This is a 7/8. Let's try that. Well, that looks like it was made for it. So I'll go with that. I don't know if it would take a 1 inch. It's good to go. So let's put this dreaded apparatus back on. Oh, hello, Ladybug. Can you see? Little Miss Ladybug down there. Hello, Ladybug. There, all over the place here. Okay, so before I put this back on, let me see. This is a futile attempt because I need to close it when I put it on here to hope for it to stay on there. Ugh. Damn it. Like I said, doing this without hurting the lantern or myself is a legitimate worry. We're getting these two pretty good. But this big boy here, I'm confident it'll hold, but trying to see how to get leverage on that. I do not have pliers strong enough, I don't think. Long pliers. Sorry if you can't see this, but yeah, it's actually bending my pliers. Unbelievable. Well, there's no doubt it's going to hold, but it's ugly. See, I can't use this to clamp on this rim of the globe guard, because this rim of the globe guard is very thin metal and it'll wreck it. The metal on this hinge loop thing here is very annoyingly above and beyond thick. It's definitely not coming off, but it's just not gonna be. That's annoying. Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, I don't know of any way to get that any better, except for taking this whole mechanism apart, taking that out, and then pulling this all apart, and then, you know, maybe putting it on a hard surface and banging those with a hammer to get them to spread out. Not necessary. All right. Now we can continue assembly. All right. Let's put this baby together. What do you say? Get that baby in there. Beautiful. Filler cap. Looks very nice. Fail test. Successful. Now, the very interesting Chalwyn globe. That's one thing about these that I'm intrigued by. So, if you are a Chalwyn fan, Chalwyn enthusiast, or history buff, tell me a little something about this. Or you know, or if you're just a lantern enthusiast. I can't tell if this is a visual globe. Visual globe, I've heard it called segmented globe. I know Paul's lanterns, but there's more like very defined lines. I'm seeing some kind of lines here, but not as perfectly defined as the Paul's. It could just be the way they were made, that's all. But it's interesting. Some parts of it almost seem to have like I can feel it. A texture, almost like a golf ball, kind of bubbly, not bubbly, but interesting. So maybe that's just the way, maybe that's the manufacturing process. And the more I handle this, the more fingerprints I'm putting all over it, because I have oily hands. So, and that is a lock knob. So we'll put that on there this way and turn it. There, see that? Lock knob not coming out. Whoops. Okay, so that's my brain automatically turning the seam. There's a seam right down the middle. Can you see it? I can't even see what you're seeing here. Yeah, see that seam there? So my brain always tells me to turn that to the side share where it can't be seen, but you got lock knobs on here. So, all right, we are done with this Chalwyn Tempest. And I have no idea when this was manufactured. I'm going to venture to say it's not old. I guess venture to say it's not vintage. And the thing that draws me to that conclusion is the thickness of a lot of the metal. And this mechanism here is just pinched on with no soldering or anything. I like that they badge, you know, there's badging on it. There's badging on the filler cap, badging on the crown. And the last one I had had a tall globe, and that was embossed. In fact, where is that? You guys want to see it? There. There's the other Chalwyn. All right, I'm going to put Jack over there. So this is a Far East Mark II. This one here. And there has been some fading in the oil treatment. And also it's here in my shop up on a shelf. So it sees a lot of dust. But yeah, it turned out just as ugly. Yeah. So like I said before, same mechanism here. Same deal here with this. And you can see here what happened when I went to put it back on and bend over those tabs. They snapped off. So I had to solder them in there. And this thing's a mess too, by the way. This thing this was a rusty mess. I got it for like $5. I was just gonna save the cap, maybe the globe, because it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool globe. And there's holes all over this thing. That's just here for displaying. But there. So okay, all right. Enough out of you, Far East. So we are done. Let's come on down and take a look. All right. So here we are. And by the way, while I'm taping this, today is International Chef Day. So I want to give a shout out to my fellow chefs. Happy International Chef's Day. Although by the time you see this, it'll be much closer to Halloween for Jack here. And yeah, just want to give a shout out. Way to go, chefs. Okay, so here we go. Chalwyn Tempest. Not bad, not bad. You know, we'll see how it looks after a couple months on the shelf. Things fade a little bit, but all right. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I was worried the second I got the paint off it and felt the texture of the metal and everything. I was worried, but this ain't half bad, folks. But hey, folks, thank you so much for stopping by the lab. Jack, Chef, and me want to say, don't you go change.